look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Oh, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rest. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Thank you for taking time for hemp. I'm your host, Casper-Leitch. You are listening to the live broadcast of Time for Hemp all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course, iHeartRadio and timeforhemp.com. Big shout out to all of my friends up in Canada. Say thank you to KDK Distributors for being nice enough to give us a grant to keep us loud, proud, and strong. And, of course, send all of my love to everybody up in Canada who's working so diligently to end prohibition. It is Friday. And on Fridays, we like to roll into a small town and put a spotlight on a hard-working activist who's doing what they can to end prohibition. And my joint host on Fridays is Michael Krawitz. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon.
And we have as our joint guest today a veteran who's been working diligently in their neck of the woods, I believe, to help get medical marijuana for veterans for PTSD. Is that right there, Jeff Clark?
Yes, sir. I do want to get this to the veterans, and I specifically don't want CBD, CBN only to the veterans, because I do believe that the combination of heated cannabis and the reaction of THC and the CBDs and the CBNs and the CBGs is what's helping the veterans with PTSD.
Well,
right.
It's great to finally get you on the radio there, Jeff. I apologize so much for all the technical issues. Jeff was supposed to be on last week, and we had a heck of a time.
It's not a problem. I'll be glad to get on anytime you want me. I'm actively speaking up for hemp. I am the vice president of the California Cannabis Coalition. Craig Baresh is our director. And I got some great news for everybody. Everybody knows Jack Hare and the CCHI initiative in California that's been trying to get on the ballot since 1990. But in the last couple of days, the California Cannabis Coalition at a board of directors meeting has decided to back the CCHI 100% because it's the only one that legalizes hemp, taxes it like an agricultural product should be taxed, and caps the recreational tax at 10%.
So tell us a little bit about the history of this. I mean, Jeff, kind of maybe start off going back even a little further. Jay Nara is telling us on the side channel here a little bit about your history, going all the way back to 1974. You ran into the Army problem, issues with marijuana, and then meeting up with Jack in 1982. I mean, that goes back further than me, or even. I think even Casper, doesn't it?
Well, actually, I started protesting in 1969 and 1970 with Tom Hayden at many moratoriums against Vietnam. My major goal is world peace, but I ended up in the Army, and I was discharged on a general and honorable condition for possession of marijuana. Proceeded onward to live in Colorado for a little while and got convicted of 0.6 of a gram of possession in Denver in 1976, and they called that a felony. I moved to California in 1976 after that, and met Jack Hare around 1982 in Venice. Been an active person in the cannabis industry. I use cannabis for PTSD and to calm me down. And I stopped for a little while to raise my family. In 2003, we started fighting in Bakersfield. My children grew up and were adults, so I figured I can get active again. And we filed a referendum in Kern County, and we were successful at keeping the clubs open. And since then, I've went with Bruce Margolin. I was outreach coordinator for LA Normal for about a year and a half. And I went with the California Cannabis Coalition with Craig Baresh because we filed now 6 successful referendums in this state. And we also have 2 initiatives on the ballot, one in Orange County and one in Riverside County. Right now we are working on a referendum in Shasta County. But yesterday we all kind of decided we just got to change the state law because fighting it county by county is futile. So the California Cannabis Coalition is backing the California Cannabis Hemp Initiative, commonly known as Jack Harris Initiative, 100%.
So now I'm kind of laughing a tiny bit on the inside because, as you said, going around fighting this in the smaller county initiatives is futile. I heard feudal, like the ancient feudal wars.
Yeah, kind of. Well, it sounds kind of similar. We're fighting a battle that's a moot point. A majority of the people of this planet use cannabis in one way or another. I've heard it called an alternative medicine when it's basically the original medicine. The alternative medicines really didn't start till about 100 years ago. And I think cannabis and hemp are truly the only things that are going to save this planet.
Well, it's certainly Jack Hare's story, cannabis can save the planet, is certainly a driving force for us all. And, I definitely appreciate that. I certainly don't know of any other pharmaceutical drugs that also produce clothing and sewing machine oil,
Well, if industrial hemp were legalized today, it would change your lives by the day after tomorrow because the car bodies, Mercedes is already using hemp fiber in their bodies. Henry Ford did it in 1948. The car's bodies could completely be made out of hemp plastic. All the plastic on the interior could be hemp plastic. No, remember, it's 10 times stronger than steel, so you would never get any door dings. We can fuel them electrically or bio. Actually, cannabis probably isn't the best biofuel, but it's a really, really good one. We got the hemp issue in the clothing. We got the upholstery. You could basically build a car out of hemp, lubricate it with hemp, operate it with hemp, and at the same time we could be clearing up our atmosphere. And I think the statistics are right. If we had about 1 billion acres of industrial hemp going, at the oxygen ratio and the carbon footprint and the radiation that it eats while it's growing, in about 60 years we could heal the hole in the ozone, and my grandchildren could be breathing a great atmosphere of 21% oxygen. The soil would be renewed so they could grow good crops. So I can't see why our government is so against hemp and so against cannabis when our country was founded on it.
I give a informational table. I volunteered with the Hemp Industry Association a few years back. And, I had to kind of learn the numbers and get some of the facts and talking points straight because I am more of a cannabis activist, not an industrial hemp activist. And what struck me was that when I was talking to farmers and I was showing them the numbers, you can't grow tobacco really anymore. This is where I live in Virginia. It's a tobacco region. You can't start any new tobacco farms. Tobacco is clearly the most profitable thing that you were able to grow according to the numbers I was looking at. And then all the other crops are way down there. So you had all these other crops way down to the left and the tobacco way to the right, and hemp right in the middle somewhere. And, that's what we're looking at. It's not, as much profit maybe as tobacco, but it's clearly more profit than any other crop. And right now, there's no farmer in the United States really gaining any benefit from that. The money's going to Canada as the closest place.
Right. It goes to different countries. We're being taxed on it. Our tax dollars are going out of country instead of staying in country where we need to educate our children and house our homeless. We're spending money importing an industrial plant that grows everywhere on the planet. It grows everywhere from the North Pole to the South Pole. And it was here long before us, and I don't understand how a government can try to eliminate a plant that is so helpful to the government. And it's actually the lobbyists for the pharmaceutical companies, the lobbyists for the timber companies, all these different lobbyists that get their bills written, and then they pay it to get passed. Now, in our system, I didn't think that's what I joined the Army for. I thought I was protecting the freedoms of the country. And the freedoms that I was in the service for are all being taken away. I'm kind of upset with the Veterans Department right now. I've filed for my disability multiple times, and I'm going through a struggle with that. But I just really don't understand how a plant that is so beneficial to humans and to the planet can be governed. We got tobacco, it is not scheduled. We have alcohol, it is not scheduled. They taxed it and they sell it on the streets. It's harmful to your health. But then they schedule cannabis in 1937 when the great takeover happened. And by the way, that's when they started making a majority of the processed foods, too, was right in the early 30s. Kellogg's, Lay's potato chips, all those companies that have a lot of bad things for you, pre-processed, pre-packaged foods, all started right in that era. And our country now is just known as a land of processed foods. We produce processed foods for the world, and that's all we do.
I was just going to add to that I was just reading an article just the other day where they were talking about butter and how regular butter and regular old milk, even natural milk, maybe the best thing for you and not all this processed stuff and margarine and sugar substitutes.
Well, they have 7 different names for processed sugar, and all of them cause cancer. We have natural sweeteners. We got honey. I mean, it's the best sweetener. If people seriously are into the health, they need to cut out all the processed sugars. The government introduced them all in the 1930s and gave them multiple different names to confuse the people. But it is processed sugar. So if people were to quit the processed sugar and eat a true diet of good food, we wouldn't have so many problems with our health in this country. And I know the show is about cannabis, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the break, how cannabis does actually help a veteran with PTSD, and not only a veteran with PTSD, but civilians get PTSD too. A lady watches her child get hit by a car and her child dies. That lady's going to have PTSD. It really doesn't matter if she's a veteran or not. And people who suffer from PTSD get relief from cannabis. And they say we have a momentary loss of short-term memory loss. And I have that pretty good. But my long-term memory is wonderful. My short-term memory loss that comes from the use of cannabis is also wonderful, because if I can forget the traumatic incidents that happened to me, and if it's even just for 1 or 2 minutes while I'm smoking a joint, then that's 1 or 2 minutes that I don't have to think about the past and the bad things that happened. It allows me to forget.
We will. We'll get right back to that after we come back from a break.
All right.
Yes, we are going to take a commercial break and pay our bills. And remember, if you get a chance to please go to our website, timeforhemp.com, and click on the banners of all of our sponsors and let them know that you heard about them here on the big broadcast. And also don't forget, while you're there, there's the opportunity to hit the big donate button and let us know how much you appreciate us by lending your support here at Time for Hemp. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill.
Legalize it, yeah.
Relax. And burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.
And if you have bills or you ate bread or something, you don't have any money for it. It goes like this. be told. The landlord took my money today. Every time I get the money, just give it away. And I can really dig on some weed. A big fat blunt is what I say. Don't let the money get me down. Sit over because I wanna get higher. Pass it over before I lose my mind. Pass it over, it'll be okay. I ain't got shit to do today anyway. Yeah, yeah. And I can really dig on some grass. Cause puff twice, motherfucker, then pass. It make it hard to get onto my feet. Sometimes I push my ass right to sleep. And I can really dig on the kind. Find a little bit of the kind and go for your mind. Things look funny, no reason at all. Short seems skinny, fat feels tall. Short seems skinny, fat feels tall. Pass it over, cause I wanna get higher. Pass it over before I lose my mind. Pass it over, it'll be okay. I ain't got shit to do today anyway. Yeah, yeah. Some bars, but I find it hard to get enough of that stuff. They say it's bad, but what do they know? I've been smoking that since I was 11 years old. Smoking that since I was 11 years old. Pass it over, cause I wanna get higher. Pass it over before I lose my mind. Pass it over, it'll be okay. I ain't got shit to do today.
Today.
prescription medicines is quote unquote by the National Traffic Safety Institute. They said, we are aware of our impairment. That doesn't make much sense to me, because if you're aware, then you're not impaired. And this goes down to those driving laws that they're trying to do in Washington State. But the THC helps me forget, even if it's just for a minute. The combination of smoking a joint to sitting back and looking at the beautiful scenery lets me forget, lets me get at peace with myself. And I'm pretty sure that's the way it works with other people.
You know, one thing that I found fascinating, of course, I'm a chronic pain patient myself. My story is well known. It's out there on the web as well. But I don't have any diagnosis of post-traumatic stress. And it took me a while as a leader, you know, to understand the issue and understand the science to the point where I felt comfortable moving forward, organizational strength to work on it. And I do, and we did. But one of the things that struck me in my research was that the Army Surgeon General said that you can't use like regular Valium, that kind of drugs, which are usually used for anti-anxiety, and that those drugs were actually deadly when they were used to treat post-traumatic stress. This is, again, coming from the Army Surgeon General in a big memo. And at the same time, you do suffer from a form of anxiety with post-traumatic stress, and cannabis seems to alleviate that really, really well. So that tells me that there's something about the anxiety from post-traumatic stress that just isn't like other, regular anxiety.
It is a different type of anxiety. I get a prescription of 90 10 milligram Valiums from the VA every month. I don't take them. I explain to them, if I have to take a Valium to calm down, if the joint doesn't work, then I might have to take a Valium. But usually the joint works, and then I don't take their prescription, and then they cut off the prescription, and then I don't have it. I also suffer from what they call a classic episodic cluster headache. It's a really bad headache, hits every few years. And what they prescribe for that is narcotics. Is Dilaudid or morphine or any of those other real baddies. And I got a bottle of 60 of those sitting on my medicine cabinet. But if I can breathe some oxygen and smoke a joint, the headache goes away. And that's the way it works for me, but it's been a constant battle, because 2 years ago, when the Department of Defense announced that they were no longer going to deny treatment to veterans that were medical marijuana patients in medical marijuana states, I'm homeless. One of the first laws in Prop 215 is not to disperse your medicine. So I had my medicine in a backpack with a lock, and I had to go to the emergency room at the VA. This was 2 years ago. And they searched my backpack, and they said they were going to seize my marijuana. And I said, well, wait a minute. 2 weeks ago, you said you weren't going to deny us treatment. And the doctor walked out of the emergency room without examining me and said, we're not denying you treatment. He wrote me a prescription for 60 Dilaudids. And the officer seized my marijuana. He said, I'm seizing this. And I said, well, you're not going to seize it without weighing it. And he said, I don't have a scale. I said, I do. And I weighed up 188 grams that they seized from me. And I went to federal court, and they dismissed the charges. I filed a motion for return of illegally seized property, and all I got back was a letter from Steve Cooley saying I don't have your marijuana. And nothing further came out of that. But the fact is, they took 7 ounces of marijuana from me, and they sent me out the door with 60 Dilaudids. And I don't understand that concept. And the reason I had my marijuana with me was because I couldn't leave it somewhere. Anybody could steal it, take it, and that would be considered dispersing my medicine. So I had it under lock and key, but they took it away and sent me away with the Dilaudids. Now, they really like to issue pharmaceutical meds at the VA. And I don't know what's going on with that situation. But 2 weeks ago, I had to go to the emergency room. Like I said, they made all kinds of appointments for me recently since the Secretary of the Veterans Department resigned. They made all kinds of appointments for me. And I was outside the VA hospital, and a gentleman decided to spill beer on my foot, and he was on VA property. So I'm a little upset, and I go inside, and I talk to security, and I told them, you know, call the police. Those guys are out there drinking beers, you know, take them away. Because they take me away for pot. So I figured the alcohol drinkers could get a little harassment. And I go in the complaint department to write a complaint, and I'm calmly sitting at a desk making the complaint with the officer of the day. The VA police came in and wanted to see my ID, and all I had was my driver's license, and I held it up. I've got it in a lanyard on my neck. And we got in a little argument because I told him I was the one that called the police, and he put me up against the wall, handcuffed me, searched my pockets, and doggone it, I had a half a joint in my pocket that had went through the washing machine. And I was ticketed on April 30th for possession of marijuana on federal property again, and disorderly conduct because the officers started the argument. So now I'm facing a federal case on July 2nd, again for possession of marijuana on federal property. And I really thought federal property was paid for by the taxpayers, and it belonged to the people of the United States. And the way Prop 215 is written, I was within the state of California, and that is a law. And whether this federal property, who owns it or not, I'm not really sure, but I don't think anybody paid anything for it. They just acquired it. And our taxpayers' money built those buildings and stuff. And for them to say they're not going to deny treatment to a medical marijuana veteran, and then basically every time he goes there, he gets harassed for medical marijuana. I don't understand that part of it, but I'll deal with it. I'm pleading not guilty.
Well, you know, you got me thinking about this, Jeff. I was very much a spectator viewing, you know, your situation unfold the first time you went to court. And in fact, I've talked quite a bit about that case because it showed me that the VA's threat against veterans or the VA's comment in their policy, their medical marijuana policy, which states, you know, that it's federal property and they can't protect you from arrest, is kind of the way they put it. You know, we always thought that was a non-starter. How are you going to actually prosecute a patient for possessing medicine at a hospital? And you know, that it just wasn't. It was a non-starter. But now that you're talking about it, it's actually the playing field has changed since your first case. And now, very, very clearly, the administration and the federal government has set forth a doctrine of non-interference with medical use. Now, that's the actual medical use. They've said on many, many times and many occasions that they will not ever go after a patient for using their medicine that's recommended by their doctor. In the federal court, all of a sudden, there may be a defense that you can raise where you couldn't raise a defense before. You know, actually presenting the state law in the federal court. It's an interesting one. I'm very curious. And I think we might be about to come on break here.
What's that?
I was just reminding Casper, I think we're coming on a break again already, believe it or not.
Yeah, but we do have time for him to answer.
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just waiting on the court date, July 2nd. I'm going to plead not guilty. I hope they don't put me in jail and demand a bail because I don't have any bail money. I hope somebody will be there to rescue me. I heard Bruce Margolin bails out activists when they get put in jail. But I am pleading not guilty July 2nd at the federal court on Spring Street of possession of marijuana. I'm also pleading not guilty on the disorderly conduct because I believe the officers created the disorderly conduct. I'll talk to you on break a little more what happened.
Okay.
All righty, and we'll be right back after this here on Time for Hemp. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. share us with your friends.
If you are in the Portland, Oregon area and are an OMMP cardholder, then come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market, Portland, Oregon's first and only weekly OMMP market, presented by the Alternative Wellness Center, located at 5241 Southeast 72nd Avenue, 2 blocks south of Foster Boulevard, close to public transportation, held every Sunday 10 a.m. till 7 p.m., connecting quality vendors with patients. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market also has a weekly raffle with products from every vendor. So come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market and have fun while connecting with quality vendors and getting great natural medicine. If you are a vendor and want a chance to connect with OMMP patients, you can check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/Alternative Wellness Center or call 971-888-4392. Be sure to register early because space is limited. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill. Relax and burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Free? Did you say free? Free hemp? Free hemp? Free hemp video and audio? Free downloads of all the top artists, all the pot artists on planet Earth. Interviews with all the people making the movement, making the hemp movement. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp.
Well, now, chocolate cake makes my poor stomach ache, and all those pills are too much for me to take. I don't like cocaine 'cause it makes me all uptight, but coffee and reefer makes me feel alright. Crystal meth will make you high.
Good golly, Miss Molly, it is true. Coffee and reefer does make me feel all right. Those of you who listen in know that the first thing I do when I roll out of bed in the morning is pack myself a bowl and get myself a big cup of Joe. Then Joe pulls his pants on and gets dressed and goes to work, and I get out of bed and go downstairs and get in front of the computer and get busy trying to end this war on drugs. I would encourage you to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. It's what we're focusing on today, people who are part of the solution in a big way in a small town, with my joint host, Michael Krawitz. Take it away, Michael.
Thank you, Casper. It's great to be here on this beautiful sunny afternoon over here in Virginia. We're talking to Jeff Clark, who's on the other side of the country from me and a little bit down the coast from you, down in Southern California. And Jeff, earlier you were talking about Jack Herer's CCHI initiative, which he started in 1990, which you guys are keeping going with the cannabis. What's the name of the organization you've taken over with cannabis?
I work with Craig Baresh. It's the California Cannabis Coalition.
Cannabis Coalition.
And the California Cannabis Coalition has decided in a vote to support Jack Herer's initiative, the California Cannabis Hemp Initiative, 100%. Now, and you start making me think about Jack, and this is worldwide and nationwide radio. I'd like to say something about all of the fallen heroes along the way, not just starting with Jack Herer, but recently we've lost Ron Tisbert, old friend of Jack's. We lost Richard Davis, the founder of the Hemp Museum.
Yep.
We recently lost Ronnie Smith to cancer. We lost a legendary cannabis activist named Lawrence Ringo up in Humboldt County, Mendocino County. We've lost so many people in this battle. I was hoping that I'm having the second annual candlelight vigil for the fallen warriors of this movement. February 15th, in honor of Prop 215. It will be the second annual one. I would like to see it go around the world. I would like to see them light up candles from space, because there's so many people in jail and so many people have given their lives to this movement. Sister Samaya, there's hundreds. I can't even begin. We got Eddie Lepp in jail. Yeah, he got a little loud with growing his pot, but he shouldn't have put it right on Highway 20. But we got people in jail for nonviolent cannabis crimes. This is taking up our tax dollars, and we got to take a minute to remember these people that have fallen along the way. And with Jack Herer's initiative, the CCHI, the ones that are in jail, you know what? They get out. And Jack Herer's initiative, the CCHI, is the only initiative that lets non-violent cannabis prisoners out of jail immediately. And there's too many of us in jail. There's too many of us have died. 70 years, I guess it's 100 years since the anniversary of the first marijuana smuggler, but 70 years they've been slamming doors in our faces. And for 70 years, we've been building their houses, we've been building their factories, we've been building their cars, we've been fixing their cars, we've been painting their houses, we've been on the highways beside them. We've opened up restaurants that they eat at. And we got to remember that a lot of people have been hurt in this war on drugs, this war on cannabis has caused more harm than cannabis or hemp ever will in 100 lifetimes. The only way to get hurt by cannabis is come stand below my 3-story house and I'll go ahead and drop a 400-pound bale on you, and then it might go ahead and hurt you. But this war is ridiculous, and I really would love it if everybody would participate in a candlelight vigil on February 15th of 2015 in remembrance of all the people that have given their lives to this. And I'm sorry, I get a little choked up when I start thinking about this. I'm going to be at High Times Cup in Santa Rosa the 28th and 29th. I'll be on the stage. I'm going to be announcing this California Cannabis Coalition and the CCHI linking up. And I couldn't find a space on the panel for future legalization because High Times had already allotted them all, but they're giving me the stage both days on the weekend. so I'd like everybody to come join me at the High Times Cup, talk a little further about the candlelight vigil that I'm planning. But the thing I'd like to really stress is this is time for hemp radio. We're reaching hundreds of thousands of people, and all we need is 550,000 signatures to make hemp and cannabis legal under Jack Harris Initiative, the CCHHI 2016. 2014 is still running. We got still like 50 days to get enough signatures, but we've already refiled for 2016. And if the people will get out there and vote, that's the major problem we got, Mike and Casper, is if we can get more than 13% of the people out there to vote, we can change the laws.
Yep. Tell folks how to find the California Cannabis Coalition websites or anything like that.
You can go gohemp.com or .org, excuse me, gohemp.org, or you can go cchi2016.org, or you can just Google CCHI and you'll get to the website.
Well,
Patrick Moore.
Go ahead.
Patrick Moore in Los Angeles is coordinating the website a little better today. So.
Good. Well, I just wanted to thank you so much, Jeff. I want to apologize for all the technical problems we had getting you on the show, but thank you so much for coming on. And you were talking about fallen heroes, and I just during the show, a little tiny bird came to my mind. In my research, in my cannabis museum work, I located a bird called the Cannabina linnet. It's a little finch, a linnet, and its name is Cannabina, named from cannabis. And I've got an antique Audubon print of the bird sitting on a hemp plant, sitting on a cannabis plant, and that bird has all been wiped out. Wiped out because of the fact that we don't have the amount of hemp growing around the parts of Europe where the little bird used to be, Britain, Ireland, elsewhere. And that Cannabina linnet I would be my dedication for this show. And thanks so much again for coming on, Jeff.
Oh, thank you for having me. I hope you'll have me again sometime. Feel free to call me whenever you're on the air or any comments. And you've mentioned a couple times everybody thinks I'm in L.A. No, I'm in Northern California right now. I only get treated in L.A. I'm in Santa Rosa. So I'm already up here for the High Times Cup.
All right. Well, you're south to where Casper is up in Portland, and you're west from me. So I got those two right at least.
Well, yeah, we got that right. But thank you for having me on the show. And just remember, let's give a hemp hooray around the world, because it's the only thing that's going to fix it.
That's true.
Can I hear a hemp hooray?
All right,
hemp,
one time,
hooray!
Hemp hooray!
Hemp hooray!
All right, so Casper's telling me that my time clock has been wrong, and I was wrapping up the show a little bit early, so we actually have a couple more minutes. So I wanted to just talk to you, Jeff, just a little bit more about what the CCHI would do. You said it would get people out of jail, but what's the basic scope of it?
Well, the basic scope is that you can possess up to 12 pounds, 99 plants, and it will eliminate the possibility of a government big grow, because it licenses a grower at a $1,000 limit to grow pot for the public. So the mom and pop stores can have cannabis, and in all honesty, that's the way it should be. A mom and pop store can have tomatoes. A mom and pop store should be able to have cannabis. After our government treating us the way they've treated us for 70 years, and now they want a piece of the pie, is what it is. They're trying to control it. They're trying to tax it. They're trying to regulate it. And any more regulations added in is taking away my freedoms. And it's a plant that does not need to be regulated. And the CCHI caps a grow license at $1,000. It caps the recreational tax, and it does define the difference between medical use and recreational use, even though they both mean the same thing. It caps the recreational tax at 10%. Basically, no one will get arrested. Everybody gets out of jail, and it's the only initiative that does all of those things.
got my mute button turned back off. Yeah, it sounds very good to me. Jack Herer, he really had a hard time voting, for some of the initiatives that came across while he was still around. But he did vote for them, kind of holding his breath maybe, but he was voting for them. We have our chance to make a lot of headway these couple of next years. So I definitely encourage those that are out there that haven't registered to vote to go register. It's not hard and cost anything. Get set up to vote locally if you've moved. It's not that hard. And help gather signatures. We've got signature gathering going on all over the country. So not just in California, but wherever you are. Try to get out there and gather signatures. And you can find me, Mike Krawitz, with Veterans for Medical Cannabis Access. You can find me on Facebook. Is usually the easiest. It's Facebook.com/USA.VMCA. And I give it back to you, Casper. Thanks again.
That's quite all right. I do want to remind people that we are no longer just a radio show of 1 hour in length. We are actually a radio network of about almost 30 hosts now. And I'm really excited. We just brought on recently Doug McVeigh. He's on every Tuesday and Thursday right before this program. And then we've also got Kevin Zeese, who has joined us with his program Clearing the Fog on every Tuesday, starting next Tuesday afternoon. And then beginning the last Monday of this month, every Monday and Wednesday at 7 a.m. our time, 4 p.m. in Japan, we will be having a Japanese broadcast, all in Japan, all in Japanese, about how important it is to end prohibition. And, of course, we do have a Spanish version every Tuesday and Thursday in the afternoons with Mike Bafari and Morgiana Sativa coming to us out of Argentina and Chile. And this afternoon, right after Steve Danks, who's broadcasting out of England with us. And then after that, we got Celeb Stoner coming to us from New York with Steve Bloom. We go to Paris, France, and do a program all in French here on Time for Hemp. Be sure to share us with your friends. It's like a good joint. That's how we get found and enjoyed. Remember, anytime you hear me, you'll know that it's Time for Hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and spend some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yes, it's time for him. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 bales.